Actually, let me first apologize to you that I'll leave at 10:30 because I have a flight to catch, and that's why I'll finish my quota of the later discussions and I'll take more time than is allotted to me. The other thing which I want to inform you that I am not holding the position which is given in this brochure. Now I am heading a health sector project in the field of maternal and neonatal health. I was the Special Secretary IT in UP for a year, and during that period we did all the bidding, we selected the SCAs and all that process we did in UP at that time. And then I have been, though I was posted elsewhere, but I have continuously have been in touch with the IT department, and SCA, this CSC scheme was very dear to me, like e-district scheme and CSC scheme, because they really affected the poorest of the poor, so bottom of the pyramid. So I kept in touch with the scheme. I'll leave you with many questions, answers of which even I don't have very clearly. One is, when we started the CSC scheme, there was a survey which said that the 70% income of the CSCs will come from B2C and 30% from G2C. Who did that survey? I think we need to catch that guy, because it's not true. What we see in the field today, I don't think, I mean, how many SCAs are here? I would just like to know. People from SCAs, 1, 2, 3, only 3 of you. So, is it true? Are you getting your 70% income from B2C?
Right now we are getting B2C services only.
No, but in the long run,
in the long run not sustainable.
Yeah, that is one area. Second problem which we faced, and I think other states are also facing, is the problem of negative bidding, zero bidding. People do negative bidding, zero bidding, and then they run away. Unfortunately, our system is not strong enough to put penalties, and penalties we would also like. It's like we should work in a synergistic manner. We should not try to fight with the SCAs, and so penalties we would not like to impose. But I think in some of the states, penalties will have to be imposed to discourage this habit of zero bidding or negative bidding. That is, I think, one area where we'll need to think about it. Then I think some work has been done. Earlier it was not very clear when you consider a CSC to be set up and operational. But now I think in some states it has been done. One thing which I was very surprised here, I visited, and I think this girl is here from this stall, and I visited this CSC e-governance services, this SPV stall, and I wanted to know the number of transactions being done by all the CSCs in the country. There is no data on that. We should have some rough figure. I know it is not possible to have the exact data, but we should have some rough figure with us at the country level. How many CSCs are operational? That they have some 81,075. But how many transactions are they doing? What is their average income? What is our highest earning kiosk in the country? What is our lowest earning kiosk in the country? And all those kind of dashboard kind of a thing, key figures, we should be having at the national level, as well as each SCA would be having. Other very paradoxical thing, I think, which we have in our RFP and in our contract is that our revenue support, whatever income you make from G2C services, our revenue support will be decreased to that extent. I think that is a very, very foolish kind of thing, because this way we discourage you not to give G2C services, because if you can make money without, just 1 minute, I forgot to switch off my mobile, I'm sorry. I think revenue support should not be so strongly linked to the provision of G2C services, otherwise it leads to, I was told in some states, even in UP, there is some tendency for SCAs to suppress that data and that information, and which I think people at this stage should concentrate on the scheme and for the success of a scheme, rather than doing data fudging and all that, which is very common in the government, but it should not happen, at least in this scheme. As sir has already told, there is a very strong potential as far as NREGA is concerned, very strong potential about financial inclusion. Again, UID. I think these are 2-3 areas where SCA should be really innovative, and they should be forthcoming to take the advantage of this. One more thing which I've been asking many people to do it, especially those who are in academic field. I've also asked people in DIT about it and also asked some of the SCAs. You know, we many a times we call in e-governance a life cycle approach, from birth to death approach. We should try to make a table department wise in the state government, for the state government as well as for the central government. Now that table will give first the serial number, second the transaction, like for which people visit that department. For example, in a state, suppose a PWD department is making the list, then why do people visit PWD? Maybe contractors visit for registration, contractors visit for bidding. So those kind of transactions should be listed. Third column, what is the frequency of their visit to the government office or wherever, and then based on that frequency, they should try to estimate the number of transactions which are expected in 1 year, and how much is the cost coming for the person to visit an average. In this way, if they make the whole list, then we compile the whole list for the state government. Similarly, we compile a list for the whole central government, and we'll be able to come out with some economic cost of the visit of the people to the facilities, to the government facilities, for example in the opportunity cost. And that is the way we should try to justify the and try to do advocacy for the back-end computerization. And in the back-end computerization also, we should prioritize that wherever the frequency of the transaction is very high, we should try to focus on that. Because in Sitapur district, where I was earlier the collector, e-district scheme is running very well. They have already issued, I think, more than 3 lakh certificates by that. But if you analyze, out of those 3 lakhs, 80% of the certificates would be issued, will be of a kind of service, like the service availed. So we should try to prioritize at the national level and even at the state level, what are the services in which we have to focus, which will give us the volumes of transactions and also volumes in terms of money. Like volume of transaction will definitely transform to the volume of money. Other issues which were raised were very pertinent in our rural setting, the issue of caste. And I think Sir is very right. I don't think there will be any discrimination or anything when you have to take services from him. But to SCAs, I would request there has to be some positive discrimination for the weaker sections of the society. I know that you are doing business, there is no restriction. There were talks of reservation being provided in this scheme, but we said no, this scheme is more important for the end user than for the intermediary user, and so we should try to benefit the last man rather than some of the person from his community. So we didn't do that. But I think the SCA should be better advised to keep this in mind and have some positive discrimination proactively, so that whenever there is some such talk of this scheme, at least we can come up, and you should have statistics ready that you are employing such and such people, so that we can justify that no, this is a whole all-inclusive scheme. Because I have some experiences. My previous assignment was director midday meal in UP, and there were, unfortunately, still in our rural areas, there were instances where forward caste people refused to eat from the food cooked by an SC cook. So that was one area of concern. But I think in this case, those apprehensions are misfounded. So I think these are some of the questions, some of the thoughts which were coming in my mind. But to my surprise, the scheme is, there were hiccups, but the scheme is doing very good, and scheme will do well. There may be problems initially, that has to be there in every scheme, because our country is so big. Even my state is like a country, UP. So the problems will be there, but there is really a very, very bright future ahead for this scheme, and not only for this scheme. Because of this scheme, there is a lot of bright future for other schemes. Because I was attending in Rajasthan, a district called Bhilwara event. They were going to start some Narega helpline and all those things. So everybody